Catherine, thank you for letting me use your point. But Collective, you have to understand that the comic books I'm going to be talking about are comic books that are still going on. There are still series that are serialized and published on the regular with new installments, new issues, and they're still going on while these movies are being done. Imagine, this is an analogy I want to use, that your TV show, while it's running, it has a particular cast of actors. Then suddenly a movie is made, and they change the actors and they change some of the points in the plot while your show is still going. So what changes might be done? And sadly, for comic books, some things have changed, but there some things that, of course, are beneficial, and that's what I hope to talk about. And of course, some of these benefits include Marvel being able to sustain itself now with these movie rights being sold everywhere, DC doing the same. And it's not like these movies are all bad. A lot of these movies are actually paying a lot of tribute to the comic book readers. Stan Lee makes a cameo in almost every movie. If you don't know, Stan Lee's the creator of some of these characters you see on the screen. And he makes these cameos that are just hilarious. And there are all these other little Easter eggs they leave for the comic book fans. I bet you some people who haven't seen or read the comic books didn't really understand why Donald Blake kind of mattered in the Thor movie. Why it was kind of left on screen for a few seconds was because Donald Blake was Thor's secret identity back in those times in the comic books. That was a long time ago, but still, Tony Stark having a bodyguard, that was a thing that happened in the comic books. There are just a lot of these little Easter eggs that make it just so fun to watch some of these movies. They're great. Now, on the other hand, comic book sales have been plummeting and the industry is falling. And the people in the industry are trying to capture the imaginations of those who just watch the movies and have them read the comics with a very seamless move. In a way, they want them to feel comfortable reading those comics as if it were just like the movie. But the problem with that is us comic book readers have been reading this for so long now. There's so much character development, so much plot that are now being changed to make the move from movie to comic so seamless. And we're seeing this with, for example, Matt Fraction's run on the Invincible Iron Man. He brought back Pepper Potts and Happy Hogan, and they were married. Happy Hogan died, and Pepper Potts, a month after her husband died, is already flirting with Tony Stark. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like she's a floozy or anything. No, I don't mean that. It's just clearly this was a move to get those moviegoers enjoying the comics as if it were just like that movie. You know, Iron Man, great movie, but yeah. Another example is that Hawkeye just had a character redesign. Now no longer in the costume that fans know and love, now looking like the actor from the movie. And that kind of addresses its own problem. And I know that the costume wouldn't have worked in the movie, but the costume worked in the comics. Let's just say, as a comic book reader, I had my cake and ate it too, and it was fine, and I enjoyed that cake. Now, there's also this kind of grassroots movement. As we all know, DC Comics has the New 52, all these series starting from issue number 1, and starts those stories from the beginning. But the problem is, as George Perez has said, George Perez is a famous artist and writer in the comic book industry, and he started writing the Superman series. But he found that he was under a lot of editorial pressure to do the whole series in a certain way, and that was to make it so that the movie that's coming out next year, I believe, will be like the comics, so that the movie will have its leeway, that the movie can be correct as long as the comics are written the way they are. And there's a problem with that. And movies and comic books are not the same. They're completely different mediums. They're both visual mediums, but they're different mediums. And now there's a lot of influence from that, and a lot of comic book readers are feeling very left out. Quickly, I just want to add one thing. Imagine if that happened to that television show.